I'm John Badham, and in 1978, Canada's national field lacrosse team captured the World Championship in England and is so recognized in Canada's Sports Hall of Fame. Join us now for the official presentation of the World Plaque to the Hall of Fame. Here is Mr. Harry Red Foster, chairman of the Hall of Fame.
Saw that jumping, I thought it was the Australian kangaroos that after you won that game. The other fellow that should have been here today is Bert Powell. He played in the Mann Cup. He was responsible with Harry Price for the thought of the development of Canada's Sports Hall of Fame.
Tom West, curator of the Hall of Fame, is accepting display memorabilia from Bob Flintoff, Canada's all-star goaltender. John McCauley, Canada's defensive coach.
4 weeks ago in the final game, we were behind 2 goals to the time, and Sam Cochran came up with the one that put us within one. It was a disputed goal.
Bob Allen, head coach, is presenting the game ball that Stan Cochran scored the winning goal with to win the World Championship. And here is Ron Wicks, team general manager.
Goaltender, Bob Flintoff, and without that stick, we wouldn't have won it, I guess.
Finally, the National Field Team Chairman, Mr. Marshall Spence, presenting the coveted World Plaque to Chairman Foster for display in the Hall of Fame. Let's now go to Stockport, England, to see the action that led up to this historical occasion. Here's the Lord Mayor of Stockport.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. May I first welcome the Undersecretary for the Environment, Mr. Ken Marks, who's here to represent the government and their interest in what is happening today, before I welcome all of you to Stockport, which is undoubtedly the historical centre of English lacrosse. You may know, of course, that it was in 1875 that the first English club, Stockport, was founded, and from when the game made rapid progress and indeed continues to do so. May I especially welcome the squads from Australia, Canada, and the United States of America, as well as, of course, our own team. And I'm told they've got a tremendous amount of supporters who have come with them. To you, a very sincere welcome from Stockport.
And now the president of International Lacrosse Federation, Mr. Jack Wilkinson.
On behalf of the International Lacrosse Federation, I thank the 4 countries taking part in this championship. And I am sure we all are pleased to welcome our friends from overseas. I know the time and effort required to prepare a team for games at this level. And after a long hour of training, I hope that all the competitors will have the satisfaction of giving of their best. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I have great pleasure in declaring open the 1978 World Lacrosse Championship. May the best team win.
The Australians and the United States faced off in Game 1, opening day. The Yanks won the contest on the field 22-17. But the Aussie supporters won the cheering. In Canada's opener, the traditional coin toss for ends was won by England. But the coin toss did not decide this game. The Aussies are some of the greatest sports fans in the world. They cheer for everybody. Canada won the rain-played contest 21-15. When the Canadians brought out the Stetson hats for presentation to the English side, the English supporters and announcer could not believe it. From here on, everybody wanted a Stetson, and English hat shops needed to find a quick supplier. The Canadian flag flew proudly opening day. In round number 2, the Canadians drew the highly favored United States side. Both Canada and the United States won opening day, but Australia and England were still very much in contention. Again, the Canadians lost the coin toss. But unlike opening day, they were not to win the game.
We seem to be willing to put the gad on when they're ahead of us going after it. Why don't we get ahead of them for a change and take the gad and pick the thing up? Okay? That'll show whether you're brave or not. Doesn't take much courage to swing the stick. It takes a lot of courage to get out there ahead of the other guy and pick it up and take a spot once in a while. You want to start right in it? Right off the bat?
We can't cut into it.
Well, we never try to cut into it. That's the problem. We try to cut into it, and if it doesn't work, then we never seem to go that far. What usually happens is that you take the ball in there, it gets you behind the net, and then something else happens. We're running from a 2-3 in that. If you want to go into a 1-4-1 right off the bat, that's fine. Leave Hayes in one corner, Cockett in the other corner, and put Wilson in front of the net. Okay, put Humby down in front of the crease. Leave Wilson out top, okay? So Wilson and Mastine, we got two lefts in front of the crease then. That's no problem. Let's put Wilson and then leave Humby out top, and Mastine and Wilson keep those two creasemen busy in there. See if we can.
Once all the way down.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, let's go.
Okay, let's go.
Let's go, guys. Let's go.
Come on, guys. Let's go.
before this championship is over. The Stetsons were presented a second time, but on this occasion, the Canadians were down. They had not only been beaten, they had been embarrassed. General Bobby Allen's solution was to get back to team headquarters and work. He nor the best players in Canada came to lose. After all, Marshall Spence and company did not recruit one of Canada's best coaches because it was going to be easy.
And Stan is putting pressure there, and it goes over to Huntley. Yeah, I don't know where you'd go in or whether Mike would come barreling over, and you drop down and close it off here and force the pass over there.
Bobby set the pace. The players responded with increased concentration and effort.
Anybody in the triangle, the rest of you be ready to pop into a 2-on-1 situation. Dan, come over here right away. I think you should probably stop and whirl around. Be ready to break right into a gap in here someplace. Get the ball back from Doug Hayes. Or even be open in here someplace. Because they're going to get pressure that way too, right? If this starts to close in on you, and let's say Dan Wilson moved into here and he got a pass from Flintoff in here, then he's going to get pressure there. He's going to get pressure there. He's got to wheel around right away, and he's got to have somebody to pass to. If not, he can give it right back to Flintoff again. Back him in the net area.
The third round saw Canada beat the competitive Australian team 16-13, and the United States squeaked past England 12-11.
Hurry up. Come on, guys.
Bring it in red.
Here and there. We did change it a little bit. We tried the L there. Dave suggested we worked on something like that similar earlier with the 4-man across the field with a midi back this time. The only thing that's wrong right now is that, Fred, you're up there in center field. I don't want you going across center field, okay? Unless it's a 2-on-1 situation that's created near side. I prefer you to stay there and be an onside man. We get two defensemen. If we get a defenseman booting up here with the ball, and you're gone too, and he goes across center, we have to have two midfielders back, and I'm afraid we might not have that happen. We're concerned with containing them as much as possible, forcing them to have as many passes as possible, hoping they will make a mistake. But don't go after their stick and try to steal the ball all the time. Referee is D. Raymond, umpire is B. Chadwick, chief bench official T. Mather. We don't have anyone from the States at all. You can be assured that it'll be called very closely on a lot of the rough stuff out there, so take that into consideration when you're on the field.
The previous day, Australia had won the consolation final, 19-9 over England. As Canada readies for the final, the thought on everyone's mind was, have we shaken the previous humiliating loss? Have we regrouped? Sure, we beat the good Australian team in round number 3. Sure, we beat the Brits by 5, and the Yanks just squeezed by them by 1. But it was the Americans who beat us 28-4. The Americans came out bang, bang, bang to take a 3-0 lead, but the Canadians came back to score the next 8. The gut determination of the Canadian players was very visible.